All right, y'all. So, with Valentine's Day coming up, I figured we'd take a little bit of a focus on how trash we are towards each other as a society. Gen Z has got some issues when it comes to dating. So let's
Oh,
watch this and talk about it a little bit.
yeah. Let's do that.
All right, folks. So the phrase "demography is destiny" is attributed to French philosopher, also the famed father of sociology, Auguste Comte. And essentially, it means that you need to have a growing population to have a growing economy. With that in mind, take a look at this. This is the birth rate of U.S. United States, and I got to tell you, if the statement, either that statement Ugas made is a lie, or this is going to catch up to us later. I happen to believe it's the latter. It will catch up to us later. So the question, of course, is, can or will Gen Z come to the rescue? I want to bring in now New York Post columnist
Oh,
Ricky Schlott. All right, Ricky. The 65 and older crowd will be 37% of our population come 2040. We need you guys to come to the rescue.
Yeah, I don't have too much faith in us,
Ooh, hold
unfortunately.
on, hold on, hold on. Was that a Me Too situation?
Man, nowadays, who knows, man?
I bet you they had to rehearse that like 2, 3 times. Like, look, I'm just asking because that's what they wrote.
You know,
And
it's
then,
funny. I find myself qualifying all of my statements the most with Gen Z.
hey, he's showing teeth. Look at him. Like, he got him a nice little piece of calico right here.
That's a flat back for sure. I don't know what that
Hey,
is,
flat back for sure.
but
Kirkland
some
flat
people,
back.
yeah, some people like them. It is what it is.
Definitely. I mean, statistically speaking, the majority of young people who are childless right now, 56% say
Oh,
they
never
just
mind.
simply don't want children. It's not even that it's a factor of circumstance. And I hear frequently from my friends, they're worried about bringing kids into a dying planet and a climate
Right,
catastrophe
right.
or the state of the world right now. And so I think it's even a little bit more ideological with young people today.
20 years ago, a professor in Japan. Now, Japan has always been ahead of us on this sort of social media, internet kind of stuff, and these improvised these games where you become the person in the game. So he came up with a phrase called grass eaters.
Mhm.
Essentially, it was the young men there rejected their parents. Their parents were proud. They would work for the same company for 50 years. They would do a
Yeah.
2-hour commute both ways, and they were really proud of that. Instead, these kids they slept all day. They
Mhm.
played video games all night. They immersed themselves into this
Yep.
world. Their population is going to go from 120 million people to 80 million people, and about 50% of them said they have no interest in sex at all. The reason I bring that up is you wrote a pretty provocative.
All right. I know this is a serious topic. Um, I and I know for the most part you don't have to have like ass or anything, but you got to have something up here. What is this? Where are they?
Look, on a positive note, more than likely, she's always going to be thin. So there's that. I mean, it's all about what your taste are, what you want. But
Who let her
did
wear
you
that?
hear what they just said?
I,
Most
who let her wear that skin tight dress? I know I'm supposed to be talking about real shit, but come on. You gonna put some
hey,
candy up here? Put some candy up here.
and you know, Fox
Man.
typically does put a lot of eye candy up there.
Yeah,
You know,
you're right,
you know.
absolutely right. They'll make these cougars look like something, but this was really bad.
Yeah.
Articles.
Not
Oh,
bad.
you can stop right there. Um, let's talk about some of the stuff that she said.
Hmm.
56% of Gen Z women do not want to be mothers or be married, right? That's number
Oh
one.
yeah, programming,
Number two, she
or
said that,
we'll say programming has shifted the idea that being a mom is not a good look on you, or being a homemaker is a rewarding job
well,
nowadays.
Harrison Butker tried to say it was, but look what they did to him.
True. Right.
um, she talks about this a little bit later, so I'm gonna wait for her to get it. But another strange phenomena that's happening that no one seems to be talking about, and I've had this as a theory in the black community for a long time, but I'm starting to see that it expands further than the black community. So women are becoming more liberal and men are becoming more conservative.
Yes.
And most of the time, what I'm finding is when I talk to a man who's in a relationship, he leans into liberalism a little bit to appease his wife, but he doesn't really agree with it.
Yeah, he'll get divorced.
Yeah. There's so many men who aren't honest with how they feel about politics just for the sake of keeping the peace at home. They're
Yep.
usually those happy wife, happy life ninjas. But the bigger concern here, she said
Yep.
something. Most Gen Z men would rather stay at home and stay on their devices, watch porn, do play some gaming, and just not even attempt to socialize with friends, let alone the opposite sex.
Right.
We have a problem here with Gen Z, and I really want to call out our generation, the millennials, because we raised these ninjas.
Yeah.
And I think we may have been the first generation that said, I'd rather be your friend than your parent. And we may have been the first generation that said, screw it, I'm not gonna teach them any life skills whatsoever. Millennials, if you're anywhere close to me in age, we dropped the ball on that. And that's something that we're looking at now. We're paying for it with these consequences.
Yeah. We let a lot of people that don't have kids, that don't have healthy relationships, pretty much tell us like, hey, we got to start doing things differently so our kids have a better future, so they have a better upbringing. They are more open to other. I mean, so they can be more open to other, cultures and different mind of thinking, as opposed to like our parents or parents, really. But and the fact of the matter is, our parents, they didn't do a good job of um, helping or raising the next generation up. Unfortunately, they didn't instill the values that you need to make a family stay together. When it comes to like being having a wife and having kids, especially with one woman. And so, for that generation, it just gets worse down the road. And so, yeah, this is probably the last generation that can kind of, change the path, change the trajectory. But you're not going to be able to save everybody. You're going to be able to save people that want to listen, people that want to be in your tribe, people that that are open to listening and making changes. Because I see a lot of people that, especially like on Anton's channel, where you have a lot of people that definitely rock with Anton. But my question is, and it's not so much that Anton, it's like, if all these people are, making these changes, then there's definitely hope though. But, he still has a few detractors in there that try to derail everything. And so it's hard to beat any of those people though, because they tend to get the bigger voice and they derail things. But it's like, what can you really, I mean, how can you combat something like that? You know?
Yeah, and this doesn't help either. I just posted an article from psychiatrist.com. So 42% of Gen Zers have a mental health diagnosis, yet 60% of them are taking medications related to mental health.
Yeah.
So
Big pharma.
there's ninjas in here that are taking pills without even a medical diagnosis to support said pills.
Yep.
Now, Gen Z is socially awkward, and a lot of the reasons why according to the University of Puget Sound, Gen Z is socially awkward because they fear rejection, social media plays a part, and they have a tendency to be in situationships because it's easier. They don't want to do the work that comes with harder relationships. Now, a lot of you are probably asking, why is this so important? Why are you hammering on this? I promise you, I'm going to end with that because this is going to affect you at some point, and I'll talk about that later. TR, what do you think?
I mean, I understand why Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they I will say, I feel like a lot of them are lazy and they can't handle rejection. That's definitely true. So when you're lazy, you can't handle like the real truth or how life really is. And part of that is our fault as well too, as like the generation bringing up the next generation. Unfortunately, though, people are trying to correct it, and the more you try to correct it, the more people fight you on it, though. And so a lot of these people just got to find out the hard way, because you're just gonna come a point where I mean, there was a chick I was dating. Like, she probably, and she was like way younger. I mean, like 10 years younger than me. So I don't know where that would put her at though. But she was seeing a therapist, and she was also seeing, not seeing, but she was always taking like head meds and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're taking all these meds. That's probably what drives you like crazy though, because she would get like really antsy about things. And I was wondering, like, why do you fly off the handle on certain, like, on these type of issues? And then also had like abandonment issues and stuff like that though. And I always wonder like what was going on with that. I think it's because her therapist was too close to her in age, so her therapist was always relating to her, because the therapist was part of her generation. single mom and whatnot. And then also just taking these head meds. Like these head meds are not helping you be like a functioning adult. Like go off the meds for a little bit and see how you are, see how you act. Because I mean, going on medicine just is an option for a lot of people. And some people just don't want to like change or, use that as excuse, like why you're a jerk, why you're an asshole. So, people don't want to do stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna save my next point to after we watch the second part of this clip that I marked out.
Yep. Hold on, let me get this back to it. There we go.
It's called When It Comes to Sex, My Generation is Screwed. I mean, is this a similar situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing that we have here that's even worse is our partisan politics situation, where we know that boys are going to the right and women are going to the left. And increasingly, they're saying that they refuse to date someone on the other side of the aisle. So more than half of women say that being a conservative is a red
That's
flag.
true.
More than half say listening to Joe Rogan is a red flag. And so I think we're kind of headed towards a demographical disaster if we can't bridge the divide, at least putting politics on the back burner for romance.
How do you put it on the backside?
So, if you are a Gen Z male, right now you're liberal, but studies show as you get older, you'll become more moderate or conservative. Women will slide to the middle too, but they never fully, generally speaking, they never fully get there. And here's where we run into the other problem. If you live in a society where men and women are behaving the same, it's problematic.
Yeah.
It really is, because now you got to start having conversations about putting women in the draft, putting them on the front line to fight in combat, doing jobs where there's heavy lifting and, safety things that they typically won't do. But we know at the root of it, a lot of women will opt out of these roles. Like women will sit and complain about the wage gap, but when you look at the types of jobs that they take versus the types of jobs that men take, it's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
The wage gap argument only makes sense if we're working in the same industry and have the same amount of experience, but that is not how men and women choose careers, and that's been proven time and time again.
Yeah.
The concern here is you guys have made politics such a big deal that you're operating like gangs, where you won't talk to the other side, you hate the other side, and you pretty much want them to cease to exist. The only thing that's missing is y'all literally aren't physically harming each other. That's the only part that's missing.
They are doing it. It's just not publicized, because if it was someone on the right doing it, it'd be all over the place.
Yeah, there's that. But politics is playing a role in this too. And I want to call out, because I said earlier, there's a reason why we're talking about this. I need you to understand what happens when the men and women aren't functioning like they should be. When you have population shrinkage, there's huge economic impacts that come with that. So think about it like this. The largest segment in the United States right now are the baby boomers, and they're all about to hit retirement. Not even close. Like if you talk to a baby boomer, most of them have tons and tons of siblings, and they come from two-parent households. Most of them do.
Mm-hmm.
But now that the population is shrinking, there's going to be more coming out of Social Security than there is going into it. There's going to be less GDP. There's going to be a less taxable base, and this will all have impacts and implications on everyone in daily U.S. life. Now, y'all want to get out of these gender roles so bad, but what you fail to realize is gender roles keep societies alive. They're that important. Now, there does need to be conversations on respect and how you should be treated, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, I'm the protector and the provider, and you're not. And we need to get back to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is what they're going to do.
Warning, enemy nuke has been launched. Repeat, enemy nuke has been launched.
That is the sound of the next generation cooked. That is exactly what's going on. So rather, have a healthy discussion, rather than just say like, hey, you know what? You're on that side. You voted for Trump. This is how you feel. I'm good with that. I'm on this side. I voted for Kamala. I think that, she was the best candidate. My person lost. Most in a civil society, they can just say like, hey, it is what it is. I still love you as a person. After Kamala, after it was obvious, I mean, we already knew Kamala was going to lose, but after she lost, we had you Gen Z women coming out here talking about what was that South Korean movement where they were talking about swear off husbands or swear off men for like a year. I forgot what it's called. Whatever
Yeah.
that dumb movement was called. Then you had a lot of you just crashing out on on the internet talking about how you're going to leave your boyfriends, leave your husbands. Look, I feel for you Gen Z soy boy men. I feel for y'all because y'all got to put up with all of these things that these women want to do that is going to destroy your household. Like you have kids, you have procreated with these women that will divorce you if you say anything related to like, hey, you know what? Trump's not a bad guy. You say anything positive about Trump or anything about what the conservatives are doing, you are getting divorced.
Oh
That's
yeah, if you don't agree with her 100%, she gonna give
y-
you hell on
y'all. That's your marriage. That's you going to the. That's you going to the courthouse, and that's your wife going to the courthouse filing for divorce. Your wife is telling everybody on Facebook, you know what? He's a good provider. He's a good man, Savannah. That's a good man. And they're divorcing you because you like the post that said Trump did a good job getting rid of the illegals or getting rid of DEI or whatever the case is. So yeah, I can definitely see the women go like just doing their own thing, having all these barriers, lines. But the funny part is they still let us bust them down. They still let them conservative men glaze their faces. Like they're still look.
You whores!
They are still doing that in the bedroom while you soy boy, you liberal limp-wristed men are like trying to be the providers for these women. They don't want that. They, as much as they talk about they want to be strong and independent, they don't want to be strong and independent because they're hoping that some simps like you are going to take care of them after they've been slutted out by all these, conservative chads. So regardless of what they tell you, what they don't want, and what they say on the dating apps, they're still going to mess with those men because at the end of the day, they still want leadership. They won't say it online. They won't say it to their girlfriends because they'll get kicked out of the club, the sisterhood, the traveling pants. They'll get kicked out of those. But this is what they're craving for. And for some of the videos that we've done of women just crashing out, we have some videos coming up where women are just not. I mean, and these are younger women. They're just not, coping with or having to deal with life by themselves. And also, this is the question you should be asking for men. If they're willing to divorce you and wreck their family, wreck your family, why are you with them? Seriously, why are you with them? If that's all
especially
it
over
takes,
something trivial like politics. If
yeah,
that's the only, I get some things you got to agree on, but if that was that like I
the
can't do this,
breaking
I'm gonna
point.
leave you because it is not
No,
because he kept you safe or provided for you, because you have slight political differences.
yeah,
Sounds to me like your marriage wasn't on a strong foundation anyway. I
oh
do
yeah,
want to call something out though. We talked a couple weeks ago about how male incels are on the rise. 1 in 3 men have not had physical contact with a woman, sexual physical contact, or intimate physical contact with a woman within the last year. That's not the case with women. They still getting it in.
oh yeah. They're
They,
still, yeah,
if they meet somebody with some bread, all these lines that they standing on are going to
yep,
disappear
it's still
because he
getting
got
flooded
that
out.
bread, and at the end of the day, they want to be provided for and protected.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's all chaos.
yeah, and again, for the men out there, that's the one thing you got to worry about though, because if you don't have any kids with this woman, and she is talking about hey kumbaya and all that crap, at the end of the day, if a dude with the right amount of money comes around, he's taking your chick. That's just all it is. And you could say, I went to all those protests. I wore the pink hat. I did all these things for you. She don't care. She's going to be like, I didn't ask you to do that for me. Like, we have all been there, man. We have all definitely been there. I'm just saying, you see the writing on the wall. These women are doing whatever they want. They still voted for Kamala. I mean, even the black community at the 92 percenters, they're still out there, but they're still messing with the same men that they swear that they dislike, or the men that voted for Trump. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to like the business and money, they're still willing to do all the things that they won't do with you because you respect them. Get out of here.
Yeah, and let me say this again because I don't want to turn this into a we bashing Gen Z. Millennials failed y'all. They didn't mentor you. They didn't teach you. I say we because I'm a millennial too.
Yeah, yeah.
I do mentor some men who are younger than me, and I'm trying to help them not make the same mistakes I made. But generally speaking, we don't do that. And truth be told, if you talk to most millennials, they've never seen a functional relationship between a man and a woman. They had to figure it out on their own.
Especially a
So they,
black mom, black father. Like
hey,
those
real
are starting to
talk.
become more
The the
rare.
the first healthy relationship that I saw was a damn TV relationship. It was the Cosby Show. That was
Yeah,
the first time I saw a black husband and a black wife that coexisted and it wasn't drama attached
we
to
know
it.
how that turned out.
That's sad as hell to say. But I figured it out. I'm in a functional happy marriage, but everybody ain't got that story.
Yeah, yeah, and some people will figure it out. So that's a good part is some people will figure it out. Some people will look at their surroundings and say like, I don't want that. I want to go the opposite. I do not want to be competing against men. And if my, husband says this is how the household's going to go, then that's where I'm going to go. I'm not there to divide the household. Like the funny thing about it, most of these men, you would not even let anyone at your job like tell you how things are going to happen. Like you lose your mind when somebody that's like below you or on the same level as you tells you how to do your job. You lose your mind. You wouldn't even let that even fly. But at home you're just you cower in fear that your wife doesn't leave you, and you hope that she doesn't go on one of her tirades, or her she's in love with her work husband.
Yeah, there's that.
happy happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
So oh yeah, let's get back to that video. Wait, did we listen to the rest of it?
Yeah, I'm good. You
Okay.
can run yours if you want.
All right, well, we'll just go to the next topic then.